You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Close for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Universal Traction Systems, Vantage Point Marketing, Imaging Services, Zingit Solutions, Chiro Thin, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, and Everest Chiropractic Bootcamp. Let's hustle. Hey guys, Jim Chester here, Chiro Hustle live stream. I have Joe Ferrantelli with me over that direction, perfect direction for once I get it right. You're coming in from Tampa, Florida, and I am coming in from Grand Junction, which is in the Grand Valley on the western slope of Colorado, which I like to say is where no one lives. And I came here because I wanted to hear the birds chirp. So welcome to the show, Joe.
Hey, well, thanks for having me, Jim. And you can see I'm growing my Jim Chester starter kit here, down here.
Yeah, it's robust and it's full fall season for me now, so the beard is in full effect. But before we get rolling into our conversation about the Posture Screen app and postureanalysis.com, which I'll flash the website up onto the screen now, hide our names. And there we go, postureanalysis.com. And his logo is also floating over my left shoulder there. And it's a Posture Screen app. Before we get into the conversation of what the Posture Screen app and how it helps people and a little bit about how you got into the technology world, let's talk a little bit about the roots of this program. And it came from chiropractic biophysics, right?
Yeah, so basically early on, while I went to Life University and graduated in 1999, early on with chiropractic biophysics, we had some imaging software for posture that was reliable and valid. And for those that don't know what chiropractic biophysics is, it was founded on by Dr. Don Harrison, and Deed Harrison has taken on the torch. Full transparency, I'm also an instructor for chiropractic biophysics, so you'll see me if you come to our seminars. But basically, CBP is a higher level of doing structural-based rehab that is subluxation-based, normalizing the spine and posture to as near normal as possible for that patient. And we have a lot of randomized clinical control trials on the sagittal plane curves and how to restore those best to normal or as close to normal as possible, or as we would say, as near normal for subluxation free as possible that we could do. From this front, the spine should be perfectly straight. We know that. Nobody ever argues about that. From that standpoint, we had software that was reliable and valid, but it was just plain too slow to use. And when the iPhone came out, I had this idea that I went to Dr. Don, who I owed everything to. I mean, if it wasn't for Deed's father, I would have dropped out of chiropractic school for sure. He kept me in and kept the principles of chiropractic ingrained into me, forced me, told me that, everybody that's a CBPer needs to be a member of the ICA and support subluxation-based research. And his goal was to find out why people didn't respond and to have permanent changes to people's spine. And so when we got in with the software, I realized there could be a faster way of doing things, especially if we're out and about and want to do a health fair, so to speak. And so when the iPhone came out with a touchscreen interface, that's where I took it upon myself to kind of invest everything I ever had and, just take a gamble like you would see on Shark Tank, are you all in or not? And, I believed in this process and making posture analysis available to everybody at a low cost point. So that way people could be objective, document their changes, educate patients more effectively. They'll stay in care much longer for hopefully a lifetime of having a chiropractor as their caregiver. So that way they can remove subluxations from their lifestyle. So that was my goal with the whole company.
And as you got into the tech world, what are some hurdles that you've had to get over in order to make this thing work the right way?
Well, geez, it was a learning curve. Life didn't prepare me for being into the tech world, that's for sure. There's a lot of hurdles. First of all, just realizing how costly it is to run a technology company. I would have probably been a lot more lucrative if I would have stayed in practice, especially early on. But I wanted to be able to help people more worldwide, right? So if you stay in your own little practice, and we were talking about this early on, if you stay in your own location, some of us get this feeling that we want to do more and give back. I felt like I owed it to the world too, to try and get people into doing more of the rehab that saved me from dropping out of chiropractic school, and get people into understanding chiropractic biophysics. So originally, Posture Screen was a tool, merely a marketing mechanism to get people interested in learning how to fix a person's spine and posture. And then it kind of snowballed. And now we're used in pretty much every industry. Of course, it all ties back into chiropractic as my end play, so to speak. So even personal trainers are using Posture Screen. Of course, they're not as well versed as fixing a person as a chiropractor, but my goals are hopefully to get those personal trainers linked to chiropractors, so to speak. Make sense?
Yeah, and I think when you start bringing a system together that's effective for understanding the biomechanics of the spine, it just makes sense that it works for people that are in the fitness arena as well. And have you seen crossover where people are in the fitness arena and they're looking for something and they find your app?
Yeah, what's interesting is we do have a large fitness following, and even in physical therapy as well too. It's opened up a lot of collaboration doors for a lot of chiropractors to work with these different industries, and they all have the same problem that we do as chiropractors: is how do we attract new patients? How do we keep them there and educate them? And then how do we keep them from leaving when they're not fully fixed yet, right? And it's marketing and as well as patient education. And so they have the same problems. And when I'm on that side of things, they always want to pick my brain on how can I get into relate to a chiropractor, right? And they always want me to talk about how can I get in to talk with the chiropractor. The chiropractors always want to talk about how can I get in with the best personal trainers or the best surgeons or the best whatever it is. It's all cross-pollination, right? So, I think that's a very, very good thing that hopefully we're bringing to people. And hopefully we're crossing that bridge. We're getting a lot of people interested in, connecting with a different chiropractor as well too, that they can work with in their area.
And I'm sure that you've come across this, that you've seen that, subluxation correlates directly with posture. Why is it so effective for you guys to be able to understand where people's posture dynamics are off and how you can help them and reduce subluxation with chiropractic and especially the biophysics protocols?
Well, we could talk for 12 hours on that.
I love that.
That's a whole CBP course in that. And thank you, Craig Burns. I see that. I'm going to give you a shout out. You just gave me a little props there. Thank you, my friend. So just taking in forward head posture, right? Forward head posture relates to everything. I mean, we have randomized clinical control trials even showing improvement in the neck curve can help lumbar radiculopathy. We have papers on people. As a matter of fact, one just came out on Posture Screen where dentists are using Posture Screen to screen their patients in malocclusion of the teeth, because they know that abnormal posture relates to whether or not a person's teeth are malaligned. And yet we have chiropractors that sometimes don't even look at forward head posture as an entity, as a subluxation, because if someone's head is forward, the only way it can get there is all these bones misalign and get into that position. And if you have an abnormal load that's held in front of you for a prolonged period of time, gravity doesn't care if you believe that it's a problem or not. It's going to wear down your spine. The problem is that our nervous system is within that casing, and it will tether the spine and the nervous system to where you'll get improper, signals down the spinal cord from the tethering and the transverse loads that happen. So from that standpoint, there is an abundance of literature that supports forward head posture and its relation to everything from chronic headaches to neck pain, disability, to accelerated degenerative changes on the spine. There's a whole plethora. So if we just look there and minimizing someone's forward head posture, you can help a tremendous part of the population.
Yeah, and I think that's just one thing that we can really key in on for marketing for chiropractic, but not only marketing for chiropractic, but marketing for lifetime health. Yes. And I've never met anybody, just personally, I've never met anybody that had worse posture that had a better quality of life. So I think that what you've done is something that's definitely going to help, as we transition into this technology body that we have. Like we're not evolving into a more upright species. We're actually devolving into this. What I think that I heard somebody call it the nursing home posture or the digital dementia. Yeah, we're starting to get these these habits in our bodies where we start to go forward, and more people are finding themselves on technology longer. And we're not supposed to be on technology that much, are we? You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Close for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Universal Traction Systems, Vantage Point Marketing, Imaging Services, Zingit Solutions, Chiro Thin, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, and Everest Chiropractic Bootcamp. Let's hustle.
Right, and that's the problem. If you're in whatever posture you're in for a long period of time is what you'll adapt to. And that's coming back to chiropractic biophysics. That's one of the ways that we have such a high efficacy rate on, correcting people doing our procedures. And for those that don't know what CBP, you can continue doing the same type of chiropractic that you've been doing. Whatever you do in acute care is fine. But rehabilitative care is where we really switch goals. And we do things like traction to hold a person in a certain posture for a prolonged period of time, just like braces on teeth, right? We can't just get in there and just give an impulse to a tooth and expect it to be perfectly aligned over time, because you have the gums and the soft tissue that hold that structure in place. The same is with the soft tissue of the spine, with the discs and the ligaments. They take time to change and deform the ligaments in the disc to adapt into that new posture, right? So the same reason why a person looking down all the time is going to develop that hunchback, right, in the forward head posture. If we do the same thing and we hold them into a more correct posture over time, they'll mold into that as well too. That's basically the whole premise of what it is that we do.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me. And I got into the chiropractic industry 8 years ago. My first job in chiropractic was working in a CBP office. So I understood it from like being inside the trenches, if you will. And I understood what chiropractic biophysics was on a whole different level. And then I got to know you guys that were, some of the thought leaders and you guys were offering advancement within the paradigm of chiropractic biophysics. So I was studying everything that you guys are doing. You, Jason Yeager, Deed Harrison, and being under the leadership of Matt Walker and Mike Zergott. I was put in a position where I had the opportunity to work with high volumes of people and see what happens to people's lives as they change through curve correction, and see, the testimonials of people crying that they thought they were going to have to get carpal tunnel surgery, or they had numbness and tingling going into their leg constantly. And because of, correcting the low back curve, we took the pressure off that disc, allowing the body to go back to where it should be and taking it out of that symptomatic response.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I honestly think that what you're doing is something that's going to only help more people, and that's one of the great things about teaming up with the posture analysis and the posture app, and be able to share what you're doing with the chiropractic community at large. Because one of the things we ask on our podcast interviews is, what would the profession be like if everybody knew what you were up to? Right,
exactly. Well, one of the things that I think that would be helpful for anybody that's out there listening, to kind of give a shameless plug on what we do, is that we have a way of also doing virtual spinal screenings within our product that a lot of people don't know about. So to try and reactivate patients that may have fallen off care, or get people that come in and get screened. Maybe you're taking care of the spouse, but the husband won't come in, but the wife is coming in and can't get the husband in. She can go back home and screen her husband by simply taking 2 pictures, and you on the back end actually do the assessments. It's a virtual spinal screening. So there's never been a better opportunity to reach out and screen as many people as possible for these health problems, because they might not have symptoms yet. As all of you guys know, I'm preaching to the choir. It's only a matter of time till they do, right?
Yeah, and I think that knowing that we could do something like that, maybe we could have offices do some type of contest. How many virtual spinal screenings can we do in a month, and see how many people can start using that aspect of the technology. And I know that how many versions have you come out with the Posture Screen app?
Well, we're really blessed. We came out in 2010 on a shoestring budget. And I filed my patents. We have several utility patents now on Posture Screen and our body composition and other things that we do. It came out in 2010, 2011, it started to snowball. So we just released version 8.9. So we've had about 100 versions that have come out already, because some of those were point releases before it even hit version 1, right? Mm-hmm. So we're on about the 100th version now that just released, and we also have an Android version that we're trying to play catch up with. But right now, the premier version is iOS, and knock on wood, we've been able to do it without taking venture capital. And that means that we're in control of what we're doing, because I didn't want a non-chiropractor trying to tell us what chiropractic was all about and where to focus our products on. But we've went into different screenings as well too. So once we get the structure as near normal as possible, we can also screen for like functional movement assessments and different things like that, and linking to the corrective exercise. So it save a lot of time for the practitioner.
Yeah, and I know we used to use your app as well, and we used to pull stuff off to be able to give rehab exercises to our patients as well. So I know even from 8 years ago when I was getting into the chiropractic space, we were still utilizing what you're doing, and I know that you're light years ahead of where you were back then. So I can only say I appreciate what you do for the chiropractic space, and thank you for sponsoring the Chiro Hustle podcast. As we discussed off camera, there's a lot of work that goes into producing consistent work and making sure that it has a good theme to it, and there's structure. And that's something that we do as well with our messages to keep free speech alive and well in the chiropractic space, allowing the chiropractor message to get outside the four walls of chiropractic. Because honestly, I believe the question I ask people, if everybody knew what you guys do, then they would want to be under care. They just don't know that chiropractic is the answer for them.
Right. Absolutely. And my hat's off to you on, a lot of people have no clue what it is to just to do a recording and edit the recording, let alone travel like you do all over. I mean, you're logging as many miles as, Deed Harrison and I am for doing seminars lately. I see everywhere I turn around, you're somewhere. So we're proud to be able to support you guys. Every little bit helps to keep you guys going, because it is a full-time job what you're doing, and you're to be commended. So I thank you for what you've done.
Well, it's honorable to hear that from a thought leader and a motivator in the profession, somebody that can get people to actually take action. So thank you for being there and locking arms with us to be able to do this work. And it's bigger than us, but consistency matters. And so many people, honestly, Joe, they've asked me, if I could help them like train for their podcast. I say, I can get anybody in the position to start recording. Yeah. It's the marketing and it's the motivation behind it. When you're at episode number 20 and you have a vision of getting 100 episodes, you have to consistently market this thing, probably the same as you figured out marketing your technology. You could build it, but if you don't continuously market it and get it into the hands of more people, it's not going to actually do what you intended it to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you bring that up real quick, because I know we're on a time crunch. When I finally met the right developers that were going to help me, they said, Dr. Joe, I know you're a doctor, but you can't afford what you want to do without venture capital, because what you're talking about is millions of dollars. And I said, well, we'll do a little bit at a time. And he goes, I don't want to take your money, because I've heard that from so many entrepreneurs starting up, but you have to have a way of marketing. And I said, aha, I do have a way of marketing. And I said, something that you don't know about myself is that I'm driven, and I also help teach continuing education. So that's kind of how we got the word out about it. But it's a never ending battle, uphill both ways, so to speak. But there's nothing that's more rewarding when I meet a chiropractor, and I just met one this past weekend at an event down in Miami, that has never heard about what it is that we do. And it just shows you that even as much as we think we've tapped the market, so to speak, it's only a fraction of the people that we've gotten to teach them that there's a good way to quantify abnormal posture and educate your patients and show them before and after of what you've done, so they understand and stay under care and refer back to your office. So it's exciting times for sure.
And I think there's nothing more proud, like chiropractor moment, than to see that pre and post x-ray.
Yeah, that's true. It really is. I mean, that was the reason why I was about to drop out of CBP. I mean, until CBP, I was dropping out of chiropractic school because nothing made sense and I couldn't change structure. And here comes Dr. Don Harrison that said, no, you can change structure. You have to apply loads for a long enough period of time to change the spine. And I was like mind blown. And doing CBP, it gave me the certainty, and it would give you guys the certainty that if you guys haven't been to one of our seminars for structural based rehab, you're surprised when you don't get a correction more than when you get a correction, because it's almost routine 99% of the time, you're going to get a spinal correction that's you can prove on X-ray as well as posture. Not to mention all the assessment outcomes that we do, like SF36, NDI, oswestry, range of motion, watching their gait, things like that. Because we take all that into account. But a lot of these chronic patients that had no hope, I've seen miracles happen when you just add in a certain part of rehab that we teach.
And I experienced it firsthand too, so I can't say enough about the systems that you guys implement and that you guys help the communities that you have your clinics in. And
Right.
if people wanted to know more about your system, I'm going to flash your website up here on the bottom, but it's postureanalysis.com.
Yep.
And if you guys are watching this on replay and you want more information from either Joe or I, hashtag replay in there so we know to reach out to you specifically. But I just want to say a quick shout out to Mark Rogers. He said hello to us earlier. And Craig Burns. Craig Burns. Hey, Mark. He's a chiropractor out here in Colorado. He says, I love posture software you've produced. Every doc should have it or go get it. Thanks, Joe. So I always love when people participate with us and they're willing to say nice things to us. And if you guys did want more information, hashtag replay in here, and Dr. Joe or I will reach out to you personally. Yep. But I just want to say once again, Joe, thanks for being on a live stream with me today, talking about your posture analysis app and how you've integrated that into better chiropractic.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. And anybody else that has questions also about CBP, they can browse to idealspine.com as well too to learn more about the seminars coming up.
I'll put that in the link here, idealspine.com. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to talk to our audience about?
Yeah, I want to say thank you to all the people out there that actually support us, just like you. And we know that we're making a difference when I hear the feedback on how it helps everybody in practice. That's really, at the end of the day, what really motivates an entrepreneur is knowing that you're making a difference. And that really means a lot when the guys say that they like what we're doing. That keeps me fired up to, innovate some more stuff to help you guys.
Yeah, and I always love that too. When people just give me like a message in an email, they'll say, "Hey, thanks, Doc, for what you're doing." I'm like, first things, I'm not a doc, but yeah, yep. It is nice when you get a little bit of feedback from people that what you're actually putting your time and life into is actually making a positive impact on somebody.
Absolutely.
Well, is it okay if I go and close out then?
Absolutely, I appreciate it.
All right, so you guys go to postureanalysis.com. This is Dr. Joe Ferrantelli coming in from Tampa. He is closing out with me, and I'm just going to say you guys are just one story away. Keep hustling, and catch us on iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, all of them. But thank you, Joe, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you, guys.
All
Bye-bye.
Right. See ya. Thank you for listening to Chiro Hustle Live. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.